From building materials to beddings, we see and use polymers daily. The government is funding research and development for sustainable polymers that could even be useful in disasters like oil spills. Let's find out more from Science and Technology Secretary Renato Solidum and MSU IIT Center for Sustainable Polymers Arnold Lubguban. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the final word. Secretary Solidum, the DOST is building innovation centers across the country. Briefly, what is the NICER program and its Center for Sustainable Polymers?
Well, the centers that we all around the country is called the NICS, Centers for Research and Development in the regions. And this center at MSU IIT is specifically intended to develop polymers. So we call it the Center for Sustainable Polymers. And this would develop new materials coming out of coconut. As we have many coconuts around the local area, we can actually have many materials that are innovative. For example, they have developed super oleophilic foams, absorbent materials, meaning material that can absorb oil, that can be used for oil spills in the water, seawater or fresh water, or on land, or even in industry and even at home.
Yeah.
We have developed viscoelastic foam or memory foam, and also rigid insulation foam panels that can be used for insulation and walls of buildings or even halls of buildings.
So, Secretary, how will these centers support nation building and the growth of our economy?
Well, essentially, the NICS centers are designed to address specific concerns in the region and all over the country. So there are NICS centers for agriculture commodities, aquaculture, for disaster risk reduction, for health on disasters, on very specific products, centers for renewable energy, centers for fuel. So essentially, we're developing products that we hope we can commercialize or even apply in addressing problems locally and nationally.
And Secretary, the most recent environmental concern in our country is the oil spill in Mindoro in February of this year. What are the DOST initiatives that can potentially address these concerns?
Well, first of all, we have the human resources that can guide, like for example, the Philippine Coast Guard and other agencies, how to address the remediation due to the oil spill. One of the balik scientists that would be an expert on marine pollution is based on Mindanao State University in Iligan. So that's one. The second is with this Sustainable Polymer Center that can develop this sorbent that can actually absorb any type of oil. But we wanted to do more studies so that we can actually look at what kind of sorbent they will develop depending on the exposure to the natural environment. Sometimes oil are weathered and sometimes the sorbent that are used are not applicable to weathered oil.
So, Mr. Lubguban, what were the results of the recent test on the superiophilic foams in Mindoro?
Okay, I'm Roberto Malaluan, Industry Coordinator of the Center for Sustainable Polymers.
Yes, sir.
Actually, we went to Mindoro to test our superiophilic superhydrophobic foam. And what we have seen that our foam can really absorb the oil. But the problem is that the oil now in Mindoro is already underwent photodegradation. That's why the oil now present in Mindoro is like a resin. But our super oleophilic foam can really absorb the bunker oil. So it's really applicable if we have a fresh oil from the oil spill, and it really can absorb the oil, the bunker oil, in our laboratory. And then when we test it also, some of the oil in the oil spill, which is not photodegraded, that's not underwent photodegradation, can really absorb oil.
So, Secretary Solidum, why did the Science and Technology Department focus on the development of these polyurethane foams? And what value does it bring to the industry?
Well, you know that we need also to look at sustainable consumption and production because we have many agro-industrial waste that can be used and also many other agro products that can be utilized to develop these new materials. We decided to support the proposal of MSU IIT as they have the expertise. One of our the Balik scientists, one of which is focused on this, really have shown to us that they can develop materials that can address environmental concerns. And they are also looking at the foam and other materials to actually look at extracting heavy metals, so pollutants. And one of the major programs of the Department of Science and Technology is on water and environment. So this is a very innovative product that I think can be used in many instances to protect our environment, both the water and the land.
Secretary Solidum and Mr. Maluluan, thank you so much for sharing with us your insights here on The Final Word.